Oh wow! Oh wow!
We're not just
Yeah.
like emotional, right?
Yeah. That's funny though because no, that's a really good one.
Okay, we have a challenge that says everyone in the room talks about a time a video game or TV show or movie or whatever made them cry. I think just maybe feel some deep emotion of some sort.
Oh wow.
Oh no. I have one
I've
that I can
got
think
several.
of.
Huh?
Everyone in the room is going to talk about a time that a video game or a TV show or a movie or something made them
Made them
cry
feel
or feel
feelings?
emotion.
Which, spaghetti.
So which direction do we want to start?
Whoever has the best story can start.
I'm just going to kick off with something that I just thought of. Or for you to let you sit back down.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's not really like that. It's
That is
just
super loud.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII
Yep.
was the first video game I ever played. It is one of my favorite video games of all time. It is the thing that I realized, oh wait, I'm a nerd. I really like this a lot.
One of us.
Yeah, basically, it came out when I was like 7, and that was kind of the start of it, because Gray would play it.
Classic.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was basically at E3 when they announced the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I watched that trailer. I teared up right at the end when Barrett and Cloud were walking away, and it was just like, oh my god, this is the thing that made me love video games. And I am super excited for that to come out. That's my moment.
So, I'm going to borrow off you just a little bit, because mine's also Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was the game that made me realize video games could be art, which was a really big moment in my life. But in particular, playing through Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, at the very end of it, where it's kind of spoilers, but the game is so old now, if you're worried about spoilers for Crisis Core, plug your ears. At the very end of the game, Zack gives his life to protect his closest friend at that point, Cloud. And it's right there that we see not only this person who we have grown to love throughout this game, and who we learned a lot about in the original Final Fantasy VII game, sort of breathes his last and passes his will on to Cloud, which then sparks all the events of Final Fantasy VII, was sort of consolidated the meaning of that game in my mind, and that is it's a story of sorrow and a story of regret and overcoming that. And when I sort of put all that together, it really hit me very hard.
So on this whole 7 theme, I went to go see Furious 7 in the movie theaters. And at the end when they're doing like the big video montage, I'm sitting there crying into my popcorn, trying to pretend that I'm not, because I'm sitting next to Matt, who's like, oh yeah, this is like cool, and I'm just like, oh crap, oh no.
Why is that? Because I'm not familiar with the movie.
Yeah, me neither.
So what
there's
happened
deaths.
was during the making of Furious 7, Paul Walker was killed in a car accident.
Shit.
And the remaining scenes, or
Why
his
the fuck
remaining
would you put this
scenes
on?
in the film
Piece of garbage.
were filmed by his brother, and they used like the similar body and facial shape to then superimpose Paul Walker's face on his brother's body.
Oh wow.
And the movie ends, spoilers, not really plot spoilers, but just sort of for the final scene, the movie ends with Paul Walker's character parting ways with the crew and going on to and going on to like pursue a happier life with his family away from all the bustle and action of the Furious crew, and it ends with this scene of him and Vin Diesel driving along in their cars on a highway and doing one last street race before tying, which in the previous movies Vin Diesel had always let him, or had always beaten him. They tie, And then Paul Walker's character gives one final like nod and wave before taking a different fork in the road and driving away to this musical song that was done for the movie, like all about saying goodbye to like long friends, like closely held friends, things like that. So it's like extremely like tugging at the heartstrings all the way through that scene, intentionally so.
And then that song came on Songs the other day.
Oh,
when I was
no.
cleaning my house and just tears forever.
Speaking of which, those people back in engineering would of course put this song on.
Yeah.
And I forgot about this one. And I was like, oh right, the end of FF10.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here we go. Nope, we're done. So I was crying just now. Yeah, I don't know what it was about that game that like really got to me. It was just like, you know what it was? I wanted a sappy ending to that. Like I wanted a happy ending for once. Because I was like, you know what? I want them to all go home and like have a good time. And then I was just like, no.
Yeah, you gotta play Final Fantasy
It's
IX.
time to go. It's time to go away. It's like, no, just this one time. You do this all the time. Just this one. Oh, you bastards.
Sorry, going back to what I just said. Literally, Final Fantasy IX had a happy ending, like the super sappy happy ending.
I believe you. But like playing through 10, I was just like, I want.
I know, it's just that like you do
Yeah.
this all the time. I just want a happy ending.
It's
Yeah,
like, oh, everybody
the
gets,
previous game was a happy
and then
ending.
It's just like, oh. But like, I think video games make me cry fairly. Well, it depends on the one. There's been a few. Like, who else played Shadow of the Colossus?
I did.
Like,
Never
when
did.
the thing happens before the last boss, I was just like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to. I want to go home.
Yeah, nearly narcoleptic is correct in the chat. So going back to referencing Final Fantasy IX, that's one of mine. I'm going to go into a couple of them. Final Fantasy IX was a big one for me because the ending of that game is so perfect and also really quite bittersweet. It made me jump out of my chair. I was playing like the final boss fight at like 2 in the morning, and the ending cutscene of that game, I like jumped out of my chair. I was just like, yes! Because in the end of that game, they lead you to think that Zidane has sacrificed himself to kill the final boss. And so Garnet goes back to being Queen of Alexandria, and all of the various characters go their own way, and like Steiner ends up having a relationship with the female knight whose name I can't remember at the moment, and Queen goes off and does its thing, and Garnet goes back and becomes Queen of Alexandria, and like everybody has learned a valuable lesson from their adventure, and everything's great, except that Garnet is sad because Zidane has let himself die, and like a year has passed, and the whole ending of the game is being narrated by Vivi.
Beatrix is the.
Beatrix, that's right. And Vivi is narrating the end of the game, and as you come to realize over the course of his narration that what the way this is structured is that it came to light earlier in the game that Vivi was a constructed being, like he was manufactured, and he has a limited lifespan.
Oh,
extremely, like this was a major
he's
theme
a
of the game. So, but yeah, he's a replicant. And he knows he's not going to survive long enough to see his friends again. And so he's writing a letter to Zidane, who he believes is still alive, to tell him what he's missed in the time that's gone by while Vivi's been there.
Right.
So he's narrating it essentially from beyond the grave, telling you about all of the, like, everything that's happened in this year. And then it ends with Garnet, now Queen of Alexandria, going to see a traveling play troupe, which is how the game opens. The royal family is watching a play being put on, and the play is like, I want to be your canary, sort of Romeo and Juliet in the context of this universe. She's going to see that same play a year later, and there's a hooded character in the show, and through like playing the main character, and she's sort of not really paying attention until the show sort of reaches its climax, and he tears off the cloak and reveals that it's Zidane, and like leaps off the stage and runs through the audience towards her as she's like running down from her booth. And they like hug, and then she like beats on it. It's like, you jerk! How could you do this to me? It's like there's the happy ending, but you know that Vivi wanted this to be and was like rooting for them, but knew that he was going to see it and is no longer there. And so like it's just this awesome like collection of stories that all get wrapped up at the end of that game.
There's a couple of people in the chat saying that like they feel dead inside because they've never had this experience. It's like we're sort of trained to not be expressive of our emotions, especially important men.
Yeah, and I want to come back to that in a second.
In well, like international society, as a matter of fact, so it's like we're not supposed to cry, and so like you grow acclimatized to containing things.
Sorry to interrupt. There is a footnote there. Vivi was 9 years old.
Ah.
He was a 9-year-old.
Yeah. That's harsh.
Who has not given an answer yet?
Anyway.
Andre and Rek, okay. And then we can get over there too. Andre.
I personally get really invested in my reading, and so when it comes to video games, I read a number of visual novels, and one I've read is seen the anime is Planet.
Oh yeah.
Planet.
And in the visual novel, I believe you actually have to get the bad ending of Planet before you can see the good ending
One of those.
Planet.
Okay, yeah.
And there are characters who you've been reading about, the spoilers coming up for Planet, is that the main characters end up getting together and have a kid. And certain of them don't live after the first winter.
Okay.
And it's really, really heartbreaking the way the family and the end of the family breaking after it comes together, and you're just like, no! Why? And I find that I get this feeling a lot when reading visual novels, mostly because I'm reading and listening to the voices sometimes in the visual novels, and just on my own, you can very easily get invested in it, and it's just like small things will tweak your emotions really easily.
That's the impression I got out of Vans. I've never really read any, but I certainly got the idea that they're primarily story-based.
Read Muv-Love and you apparently will lose all your emotions.
Rek. Two things. The first was basically the entire David Tennant run of Doctor Who. The whole
Every
thing. Just
season
like
finale
every
destroyed
third
me.
episode, just like I have to go chop some onions and make some lasagnas.
And then ball into it.
And then just like salt it myself. And then one that caught me by surprise actually was a Desert Bus moment that I thought I would share.
Desert Bus makes me cry every year.
It was actually an
Every
Alex
year.
Desert Bus moment
Was
last
it the
year.
2 million moment?
I think it may have been. It was you.
Yeah, that was.
We were here.
God.
You were there.
Yep, that's the
and
one.
I was in a dress. There
you were
was
in a
$2 million
dress, there was $2
on the
million.
screen.
Yep.
And
I don't think I've ever like cried and screamed at the same time.
Yeah, and at first it
laughed.
caught me by surprise because it was, we were doing something super hilarious, and then the shift hit me, and then actually the emotions that were going on hit me like 5 minutes later, and there was a little bit of a shock, and then I had to just sit down and feel feelings, but I was on a 5-minute delay because for some reason I just like went into shock for a minute, and then everybody was emotional and crying, and it took me a minute to adjust. Then it kicked in.
Yeah.
Then it hit me twice as hard.
Yeah.
I
Also,
got-
somebody pointed out the ending of Valiant Hearts. I couldn't deal with that at all.
I got
That's
that
on video.
Same feeling at 600,000 last year.
Yeah.
I saw the number and it was like, oh my god, 600,000, that's so amazing. I celebrated for like a minute, and then that song, Celebrate Good Times Come On, came on, and I was like, oh god, I am celebrating with all of my closest friends. That number's huge. It's gonna help so many kids. And then I just cried. I was vlogging at the time, and I just like put the camera down, went off camera, and just had a good solid cry.
Yeah.
Alright, so I want to give one more answer to
What
this
you got?
as well, because I am also a sucker, a huge sucker, like just absolutely
I didn't say it.
get manipulated into it regularly
Yeah.
for the socially acceptable masculine manly cry.
Yeah.
In that
You mean like the sort of frump and then the single tear?
well, no, but like the being like crying at the things that a man's man cries at. Like heroic sacrifice is the like easiest way to just throw me under the cheers bus.
Yeah, pretty much.
So like Saving Private Ryan, the end of Saving Private Ryan destroys me. Like just completely obliterates me. I have never made it through that movie without crying.
Turn this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that kind of thing where it's like somebody sacrifices themselves to save something, like save somebody for something they believe in, and then the response of the person who survived and their reaction to it, so that like the very end, not that earn it, but the like tell me I'm a good man.
Oh.
I just cannot survive it. So that, and then relating that back to video games, is the boss in Metal Gear Solid 3, same kind of thing, where it's like, oh god, nobody's ever gonna know what she did.
Oh man! Oh, the boss!
And they make you
Kojima
do
made
it!
me pull the trigger!
They make you do it! And no one's ever gonna know.
Oh man. She's just like, this is okay. It's okay.
You know what you have
It's
to
for,
do,
It's
yeah.
for my country. It's like, ow! Oh dear.
I actually have a couple, if that's all right. All right.
Oh yes.
After this,
I
I have
can't-
something goofy and fun I want to do.
Yes.
Which will just put everybody in tears laughing.
I have one of each. So, video game. The little brothers swim home at the end of Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. When I figured out what mechanic that was, I lost my crap. It was messy. My mascara was running.
You put on mascara to have it
Yep.
run.
TV show just a couple weeks ago, Lion straight to video, Steven Universe. That VHS, just ugly tears.
Oh god,
Ugly tears.
Yep. Oh no.
Sort of hashtag ugly sobbing.
Yes, precisely. And film, the one that struck me when we were thinking about it was Littlefoot's mom.
Oh.
Time.
Oh,
To this day,
yeah.
just nope. I was just like,
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's so
I
good.
have no context for that one.
man.
So.
It's a good one.
Anubis has one.
Anubis has something as well? Come on in.
As far as video games go, for anybody who's ever played it, Kingdom Hearts 385 over 2 days. The scene with Shion. To anybody who hasn't played it, you won't know what I mean.
It's okay,
A lot
because
of people in the chat have played.
you know what the
Kingdom
goofy thing I want to do after this is? Read the game's radar Kingdom Hearts plot synopsis.
Love it.
Synopsis.
I can.
I should read that because I've never played Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, it won't help.
Exactly.
This is I'm not worried about
Anubis.
spoilers because nobody will remember what happened by the time we get to the
Where
end.
in the game was it again?
This is right at the end.
Okay.
Oh god, Inside Out.
Oh, Inside Out ruined me.
Oh god, Inside Out. No, not hockey.
As far as movies go, the adaptation of Stephen King's The Green Mile.
Oh.
Wow, yeah.
That had me in tears every time. Just him in the chair, just singing, "I'm in heaven, I'm in heaven." No.
I'm gonna invoke executive privilege then and give mine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I watched End of Evangelion,
Oh.
which is a movie.
I see what you're saying on the monitor here. We may have been too busy to notice, but the chat wasn't.
Yeah.
You got straight busted by the
Continue.
chat.
I watched End of Evangelion, which is a movie that ends Evangelion for real.
lot
It's
more
it's
issues.
Hideaki Anno saying, "You wanted a real ending. This is how this really ends."
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah,
It's like up yours, Otaku.
exactly. Oh, you wanted fighting.
yeah, I'll give you fighting. Let you get to see how this all shakes out. I walked away from that feeling bad and kind of confused and like, why does it have to work out in this way? And I was like, I didn't cry. I watched Requiem for a Dream.
Oh God, yes.
I felt like garbage immediately after it, and I called my friend and I said to him, I watched this by myself. He's like, why did you do that? And I'm like, I can't. It was so just I wanted to watch. He's like, you were not supposed to watch it on your own. You're supposed to watch it with me so that I could be there when you have this problem. And I'm like, yes, but I didn't cry. I just was like,
felt like garbage.
I was overwhelmed and I felt like garbage. I was like, I was physically ill. It's like that most intense thing, but I didn't cry. And I watched all of She the Ultimate Weapon. Saikano is the short term of that. And I got to the end of that, and it felt like I'd been kicked in the stomach, and I still didn't cry. I went to a planetarium once with everybody, and I sat and watched everything, and you get to lean way back, right? And I get to watch everything start moving around, and then everything started zooming out, like really, really far. And I swore that for like 5 seconds, I could finally see in 3D.
Oh, wow.
And I started just tearing up, and tears were just kind of running down my face. And I wasn't sad, I was overwhelmed with what it must feel like to see like that. Because I've lived my entire life not being able to see in 3 dimensions. And it was the most unfamiliar thing. And it was this amazing transcendent experience to watch that as everything zoomed in and out and moved around. I'm like, I think I see it. I think I see it. And I lost it.
Oh.
But it didn't matter because it was like, I would posit that if you got to see the face of God for a microsecond.
He's like, I'm good.
Yeah,
Sweet.
you're set, right? Even if you didn't believe, you'd be like, but I get it. I get it now. And I was like, oh, I think I get it. I might never be able to live this, but I think I get it. And that was so good.
It's one of those like, you know what, I'll take it.
Yeah, and it was like tears and everything. I'm like, I didn't have to feel sad to cry. I just had to have this amazing experience. It was so good.
It'd be like if I actually got to see the clear line of color that I can't see.
Yeah, right?
Oh gosh, I'm feeling so lucky right now. Just taking things for granted.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta count your blessings, man. That's what I often tell myself is that, like, occasionally the best feeling in the world is no active crisis. I'm not even kidding. Like, that is absolutely. I just like sometimes I'm like, no active crisis. We're good. You know, it's just like it's raining out. I'm a little broke, but who gives a shit? I'm bust. I'm sorry. It's sometimes it's good to be grateful for what you have. And we have so much, and you have so much, and you give to us to give to other people so they can have so much. Isn't Desert Bus great?
Desert Bus is so great.
Yay! Desert Bus!
Yeah, group hug real quick, and then let's bring it back up.
Bring back the energy.
Feels hug.
Feelings hug.
Feels
Everybody feel feelings now. Everybody recover from their feelings.
That's my butt.
And then somebody hit that button.
Or maybe
Yeah.
Matt.